no, don't you understand? You should be passed outside your tent right now, like just like face down with all your homies. We're like trying to we're trying to tell them that that's like how you should be partying. It's better
horrible,
for you.
but yeah, it's
Don't you want to wake up in a tent in 130 degree weather? I mean, come on.
Super dad mode right now.
I know. Well, thanks for escaping and coming down
Having
here.
beers with the boys over here.
She's sick, taking care of the kids.
Well, let's start with a little cheers, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Cheers.
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 All right. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, especially given you're playing Super Dad right now.
Yeah. Are we on right now?
We're on.
Cool.
We're on.
Easy.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. There's a lot of places. I was thinking about where to start with you because there's so much we could talk about. Honestly, I mean, you're running a festival, big one. You're head of Desert Hearts and everything that's going on there. You're DJ making amazing music. Let's start at like the start though. What got you into making music, DJing? All of that. Where did that begin?
Yeah. I started DJing when I was 13. I was a super big hip hop head and just into Wu-Tang and Tribe Called Quest. And that was just my fucking jam. And I was like, didn't even know like house music or dance music existed. I was just diehard hip hop. Scratching is what DJing was to me. I was like, I just want to like learn how to scratch records. So I
started on vinyl?
Yeah, started on vinyl and just did that every day in my room after school and was just obsessed with it. And then when I was 17, went to Coachella. My friend took me, had no idea what, like literally we were like sleeping in the back of my pickup truck in sleeping bags without any plan in like the regular parking lot because we were too young to get into the campsite.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that first night of Coachella 2006, we're like, my buddy's just fucking, hey, I got this thing here. I got this like, it's called ecstasy. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then take that. And then like 30 minutes later, we didn't really know like who was playing or anything. And then somebody that we met was just like, oh, you got to go see this act called Daft Punk. They're playing tonight.
No way.
Yeah.
And it was literally the debut of the Daft Punk pyramid that like launched all of
changed EDM.
like completely launched EDM and everything. And I was just like screaming at the top of my lungs, like, it's like peaking like for the first roll at Daft Punk. And I'm like, losing my shit. Like, fuck hip hop. Like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Like, I don't know what this is, but I'm doing it.
Yes.
So came home, was just like, I was in college I was in high school still trying to go to things. And I think I went to EDC soon after that. Went to college, was like the DJ, house party DJ with like a little like QSC sound system.
Yes.
And what basically my DJ name was Disturbing the Peace. Just like,
all right.
Basically because
a little hip hop throwback.
I guess, yeah. And like basically my MO was like, all right, if you guys fucking host me to DJ, you don't have to pay me, but you got to pay for the ticket you're going to get eventually. Cause like you're definitely going to be bumping it too loud. And then after college, came home, like, I think I was 21 and me and Marbs, he's one of my partners in Desert Hearts, one of the co-founders. And we were like the only people that we knew that were listening to kind of dance music, house music, good music. And we started a party called Jungle. And we're just throwing like this party it was called Yogi's Beach Bar and Grill, like like right across the street from Cardiff State Beach.
Okay, yeah.
And it was just like no business throwing a house and techno party at a fucking dive bar in North County when like there's barely a scene going on in anywhere in San Diego.
And how'd those do?
They were crushing. They would crush.
Okay.
What nights was it on? Like, what was the?
We did a Thursday night every other Thursday, and it was so fucking fun. We eventually hosted Justin Martin at the belly up. That was like our big party. And then we're like, all right, we're gonna like start doing this every Friday. Just like I think we're gonna like crush it. We're gonna start doing it every Friday. We did it one Friday, it flopped, and then we quit.
Dude, that's a full start of like, I started in my room and I was scratching, and then we started doing house parties, and then we started doing like the shitty bar, and then we moved up, and then we like belly up, and then a flop.
Yeah.
So
then it flopped, and then we're like, fuck. At the time, like before it flopped, we had heard about this other party in San Diego. It was called Moonshake, and had never heard about it, but we heard that there was like house and disco music, and it was in North Park at this like dive bar called Kadan. I don't know if it's there anymore still, but we walk in to Moonshake, and at the time there was this Art Department track. There's like Art Department was the fucking sickest music ever for house and techno, super cutty stuff. And we walk in, and our favorite track is getting played. It's called Vampire Nightclub. It's like the fucking dopest track ever. And we just see this old man fucking DJing, crushing it. We're like, who the fuck is this like old geezer? And it's Lee Reynolds, like our future partner of Desert Hearts. And so he was only like 40, and we're like 21. We're like, this guy's
looking ancient.
Yeah. We basically kind of like stole him from his crew, because we're like, this guy's the fucking vibe master.
Yeah.
Like, you need to just start playing parties with us. And then, we did a bunch of parties just in San Diego, kind of collaborating and stuff. And then we're like, all right, let's just go to the desert and throw a fucking renegade party. And we just did our very first Desert Hearts, and it was like a survival party with fucking, it was like 20-degree weather and with like high wind, and just like
unforgiving.
Our sound system didn't show up. The guy went MIA the day of the party. It's like, God, we're fucked. And then
I love the story. I love the first year stories of like the first event. And it's like, we forgot a generator because we didn't realize we needed power.
So we call like the guys from Lightning in a Bottle. They end up hooking us up with their sound system from the Woogie stage.
Yeah.
He comes out with a Function 1 system, better system than we had planned.
Holy shit.
Get that all set up. Generator doesn't work. Like, dude. So then the party ends up getting going on Saturday morning, goes all the way through. Our whole thing with Desert Hearts was that we just wanted to spread as much love as possible, playing house and techno music, and then have it be nonstop. So no stoppage at any point, just like a full on vibe going through the night and into the next day. And people kind of just pick and choose when they want to party, choose your own adventure. And we've that first party was just set the tone. The DH OG family was born.
Yes.
And
when's that? What
that
year?
was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about how many people are there?
There's probably like 100 or 150.
Okay.
Did you do Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Full through? Your plan was...
it ended on Sunday, like at noon.
And so you guys had all these problems on Friday, and you were able to solve them by Saturday morning?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a foreshadow of music festival production, right? If you can solve something that quick and that big of a deal so quickly, that's like setting you up for success.
I mean, we were like having a fucking meltdown in our tents, just like, we're so fucked. It's over. Like, it wasn't like a festival either. It was just Desert Hearts, It kind of just grew organically. The next one had 400 people show up. The next one had 800. We're like, fuck, we should get some infrastructure under this thing. Like, we don't have, we barely have anyone even checking tickets or anything. Literally, people would just drive up and be like, all right, it's your turn. Go get the money.
I remember, because we moved here in 2011, right?
Yeah.
And I remember hearing about I wasn't super into. I played in a band, I think, at that point, and wasn't super into what was happening in the festival scene. And I was like, I don't even know how to get a ticket or where to go or how to figure it out. But all of my friends were going every single
we've
weekend.
known about you guys for a long time. So I remember hearing about me Desert Hearts, it's in the desert. How do you get out there? Just could not wrap my mind around that world. And
Well, so you guys were in the desert for a while.
We were in the desert for really only like the first like 2 years.
Okay.
Then we started moving to these Indian reservations in San Diego.
Okay. So you did a couple different Indian reservations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we did La Jolla Indian Reservation, which is like a closer one to San Diego.
Yeah.
And then Los Coyotes, which we did for 6 years. And that was like the heyday of Desert Hearts, Wild West, San Diego based.
That was everybody I knew was like there.
It was the sickest party ever.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
We did that until the pandemic, basically. And then during like peak pandemic, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for the next year. And then we're like reading the newspaper, and there's just like, there's a image of the chief of Los Coyotes, the guy we were like doing all of our deals with. And it's just like, Los Coyotes chief embezzling all the money from the tribe.
Oh my
and
God.
We're like, this is the guy that we're giving fucking these big
So that's your
checks
money.
to. Yeah, I
going
know.
there.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, we were always trying to like give stuff to the like their youth fund or something, or start something for
and
that.
it's going directly
And they're
to
just
him.
like, oh no, you just give that to me. We're like,
yeah.
shit. So when we were like, all right, so when we were like meeting with the rest of the tribe and stuff, we're like, so are we on for next year? They're like, absolutely not. It's like, we're done.
We've seen actually zero of those dollars you paid. So
so that was a rough one because, like, you know, Desert Hearts Festival has always been super lawless. You know, we governed, like self-governed, right? Never had to get any permits, never do like any kind of red tape shit to deal with. And then we did our first one out of the pandemic at Lake Paris, where you guys do same but different. And it's like maximum red tape.
Yeah.
It's a state park. Especially, I don't know how you guys deal with it now over there. They're like, you know, I'm sure you guys are on like much better terms with them, having like a long-term relationship.
Oh, we just fly. We don't even tell them anything.
I show up on the weekend.
I know exactly what you mean.
We had like a booklet, fucking like 2 inches thick, of like every schematic of fire protocol for like every easy up. They had us make like crazy leaps and bounds to get. Yeah.
I think I know. And the fire marshal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That see, it's always a different fire marshal. And that was one we had to deal with one year where it was crazy. And they spent like 10 hours. You probably spent time with her. It was
we spent like a 10-hour day walking through every little thing. And they're like, what kind of fire retardant is that on this table? We're like, that's a plastic table.
We had one year where they were walking around and they were actually kind of cool about it, because you need those tags that show that it's fire retardant. But he would cut pieces off of the fabric and light it on fire. Yeah. And like be like, oh, you're good there. And then like we had this camo netting over one of our side stages and it was everywhere. Yeah. He's like, let's see how this goes. And he lights it up and he's like, it's like, come on. And we're all like looking at each other. I'm like, okay, yeah, we understand. We'll get that fixed. Like that is the thing. Literally, like if someone breathed on it too hot, the thing's blowing up in flames and then coming down as goo. Yeah. And I was like, all right, understood. But it is the first year. Well, 2018 for us was like, there's a lot to learn with Lake Paris and understanding the systems that you go through with them and knowing what they care about and what they're like more lenient on. They're partners for us for sure.
Well, I think it was easy too, because it was like 400 people. And so we learned with them.
At Lake Paris?
When we first did our first year, we were 400 people.
Oh my God.
It was like...
Sounds sick.
It was awesome. Yeah. And it was like, it was their first time doing it too. So they didn't, I mean, the charges were like nothing to us. They were like, all right, we'll try this. And it was, so we were able to do it for way cheaper. Yeah. You know, it was like very just like, you know, small.
Yeah. How did you guys get started? I've always wanted to know the history.
So me and my partner, Peter. Yeah. So him and I played music together. We met playing in there's a party down here called the Mustache Bash.
Definitely.
And so he's been a part of that since like they had their first party in a backyard that got like broken up by the cops. We played together in a band called the Mustache Bash Family Band for like 5 years together. Then we toured together in like 2 different bands, played like a bluegrass band, And then, and so we just talked a ton, and we're always like, yeah, we should do that one day. And one day I was just, honestly, I was just like bored, and I was like, I need something. I need like a project. I need something new. And I texted him, and he like hit me back in like 5 minutes. I was just like, let's start a festival. And he was like, yes. And the next day we met. I was like, all right, like how do we do this? Usually those projects die out, and it just didn't. And we threw the party, and then kept doing it.
Hell yeah.
That was kind of it. That Lake Paris we found that because that band we were playing in played another festival that was there the year before. So we weren't technically the first, but like that festival didn't, like, that died out too, called One Love.
For sure.
It didn't die out. It moved to Arizona.
Well, there was One Love, and then there was, what was it called? It was like One Tribe. Do you remember hearing about that?
One Tribe was supposed to happen.
It was supposed to happen, and it was like,
that was going to be big.
Yeah, it was like going to be a huge thing of uniting all these different like huge house and techno brands, and that didn't work out because they were part of, was it SXM, or there was like a huge music group that went under
with were they part of Tomorrow World or something? Or yeah.
And they went bankrupt, and they basically lost their ability to do that festival. Yeah. But the guy who was putting that on was the one who recommended Lake Paris to us.
Okay.
And so we ended up doing like a really fucking awesome party at Lake Paris in 2022. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure you guys know, but like 2023, like after that mega boom of everyone coming out of the pandemic, partying for like a year straight, going out super hard. And then like 2023 came, and I feel like the entire festival industry crashed.
Yeah. What do you think happened?
I think it's like there's a pretty big like gap right now there's a lot of people that are like the next generation when the like 18 and 19-year-olds would have been going to festivals. Basically, they were inside for 2 years, lockdown. Mm-hmm. So they weren't really like learning from the generation before about like going to camping festivals, roughing it, how amazing of an experience it is to go camping with all of your friends while you're partying and having this like insane festival experience. And then obviously economic factors majorly played a part in that. So then like it just felt like the entire bottom dropped out of the festival industry, and ticket sales just like plummeted across the board for everyone. So for us, that was the first time we'd ever dealt with like crazy economic problems with our festival. We've been doing it for like 8 years at that point, or I guess like 10 years at that point. And then all of a sudden on that 11th year, we're like, what the fuck are we going to do? We're going to lose everything.
That's 2023.
That was 2023. Yeah. And so we pivoted to the USC Coliseum, which was like this crazy fucking ordeal as it was all rolling out.
I mean, that was nuts. And I feel like even looking back now, I'm like, now it almost seems standard because a lot of festivals have made like crazy pivots.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I was like, whoa. First of all, I was like, props to you guys on making that pivot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many artists were booked at that point?
We had like 40.
Wow.
We had 40 artists booked and paid for, at least, all the deposits paid, everything. Dude, the backstory of how this happened is not chill. It's like, it's probably the most stressful.
I imagine.
Just like watching everything that we'd worked for a decade, like imploding. And so this is all happening in like, I think it was March of 2023. We're having to like make that final decision of whether we're going to do this and like pull the plug, or we're going to like, we don't have a backup. So we're just trying to figure everything out all at once. So
when is the festival? So
the
March
festival
23.
was the end of April.
Okay. Got it. So you're
so we're right up against, up against the wall. We don't have enough tickets sold. We're going to lose fucking our asses if we keep going forward. And so while this, like during this week that we're deciding to do all this, it's my best friend's bachelor party. And I'm officiating the wedding, and like it's my best friend, and he's having his bachelor party in bumfuck Peru, literally a 24-hour travel to get there, 24-hour back. And so I'm just like,
that's an anxiety-ridden place.
Yeah, it's a horrible.
Just losing service for a quick 30-something hours when you have 90 days to solve something.
Yeah, and so while we're down there, like I'm trying to work through stuff, and we're trying to figure out. We don't have anything booked yet. Like we're working out the deal with the Coliseum. We're contacting all the management and agents to try to move. To just run this plan by them, see if they're still going to be down.
Did you try a bunch of different places, or were you like the Coliseum for sure? Because you've done some stuff.
We didn't have enough. We hadn't done anything there. But we had a relationship with someone that was working there, and they'd been wanting to have us come do something there. So we go down to Peru, and like on like Friday of the trip, so we also had to send like all of our money back to our ticketing company, like the money that had been sold and sent to us so that we could start paying deposits, everything. So we had to send like $1 million back to our ticketing company. And I'm in Peru and I'm just kind of helping facilitate things. And so we send them the money, and like 2 hours later, they're like, don't send the money. And we're like, what? They're like, we're banked with Silicon Valley Bank, and the bank just went under.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that too?
Yeah. And I'm like 10 beers deep at this point, like trying to wait, whoa.
I mean, at that point, you just
slap in your face. Get it together.
You just got to laugh at that point, right?
I'm like, what? I'm like, so our money disappeared for like a week.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm trying to like fucking keep it together. I'm on this trip. I'm like, I don't even want to be there at that point, but I'm like, I just have to. And then, so like 2 hours later after that, I'm like right about to go to bed, and I get a text from my friend. He's like, yo, is this real? And it's a snap. It's like a little screenshot of a group chat that is like the exact screenshot, it's a screenshot of the text that we sent to all of the management about our plan to fucking cancel the festival and to go to USC, and an assistant of a manager who's like she was a diehard Desert Hearts head. She fucking leaked it to her like 50-person group chat. And so we don't even have the venue booked, nothing, like none of the artists officially booked, and our money's all gone, and I'm in fucking Peru, and I'm just like, this is the worst day of my life.
Oh my!
Wow.
Yeah. How long was a Peru trip?
A week.
Oh my!
Wow!
It was a surfless surf trip. There was no surf the whole time.
Yeah,
and that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So then, but you guys pulled it off. I mean, so
how do we? I mean, so money comes. SVB comes like you figured that out, right? The money appears again.
So that all appeared again. We end up doing it at USC. We're like, all right, we get the announcement out that Desert Hearts is pivoting. It's met with a lot of flack, but also people were understanding, so it was okay. And then we end up going to USC, where we made all the financial stuff like really make sense. And it was really just like a week before the festival, USC's like, oh, so you know all those quotes that we gave you? Yeah, everything's actually like those were just quotes. And
here's the contract.
Yeah, everything is like 2 to 3 times as expensive.
Oh, wow.
And so we're just like eating absolute shit on the whole thing. And then I know there's a car outside.
It's like someone's out there revving their Harley up.
Yeah.
I know.
But we basically we're like, okay, whatever. We just got to do it. We got to get through this, make it all happen. And then literally the day before the festival, I'm at the front of this room with all of our logistics people all ready to me and Marbs were about to give like a speech to the pump up
the
speech.
Hype.
Yeah, the hype speech, why we're here, what it means to the community, everything. And my phone's just blowing up emergency. I'm like, call my manager back. He goes, the LAPD just talked to Lake Paris Rangers. They told them that there was going to be tons of drugs and just like nonstop partying and craziness going on here. USC wants to pull the plug on the festival. And,
Oh my God.
and unless you guys double security and double medical that we supply.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh, yeah.
so
Hey, of course.
so,
Super expensive.
yeah. So like just like hundreds of thousands of dollars difference than like what was
What you
planned.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just fucking eat absolute shit. That was like almost the end of Desert Hearts.
Yeah.
It was-
I mean, how do you feel coming out of that? It's just like,
Yeah. Like
is this it?
mortally soul wounded, you know, just like financially fucking in a massive hole and also like soul destroyed of
Yeah.
like just taken from, you know, and just like, what are we going to do? We're going to sue USC. They fucking have a law school. Like they have like one of the best law schools.
They'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it on for the internship. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man.
So that was when we were like, we kind of were just desperate and we
Mhm.
were trying to figure out what we're going to do. It like never crossed our mind that we would ever move Desert Hearts out of California. And that's when we kind of just like heard about this venue from our partners at Walter. It's like Camp
Walter Warehouse.
Yeah, Walter Warehouse,
Yeah.
Camp Walter. They're like some of our longest time
Cool
Burning
guys.
Man friends. The coolest motherfuckers on the planet. They showed us this venue in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we went and checked it out. And it was just like, oh my God, this is the spot. This has to be the spot. And we did it this past year. And it's like a full on, you know, just like rebuilding year. Did everything as cheap as possible and just like really relied on the community to build
Back
this
to the
thing up.
roots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like didn't pay for like headliners, just ended up booking all of our friends and family artists. And it was like the best Desert Hearts festival we've ever had.
Yeah. I saw that move that you guys did and I was like, this one is like, I think it was actually when we were talking with Tim from you guys and it was like, okay, they're going to do Desert Hearts again in July, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at this property in Flagstaff. And I was like, that's a like good move.
Yeah.
That's so smart. And
Yeah.
then I like seeing after you guys did it, I was like, this looks like the best party on earth. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked like you guys nailed it. And everybody that I talked to that went was like, best Desert Hearts have ever been to.
Yeah.
Like it crushed.
It was like, oh my God, we're so fucking back. 'Cause
Yeah.
it, like we, you know, like we didn't have a proper Desert Hearts festival since like 2019.
Yeah.
Right.
Because all the pandemic off, Lake Paris was good. It was great, but for like what Desert Hearts does on, you know, like we're lawless. We require lawlessness.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the chaos. And
Yeah.
it's like it just has to be self-governed. And we weren't able to do that at Lake Paris because just we had red tape.
Yeah.
But now we're back to this property that our friends own. They're burners. They're down with the cause. They want to see Desert Hearts grow there.
Yeah.
And so everyone, it's like all of these like really cool established party communities with us, Walter, and then the owners of the land, they're like all coming together to like make this really amazing party.
Yeah.
Did you find it? So going from you guys do your grassroots, right? You do the Indian reservations, go into a state park, maximum red tape. You go to a stadium, somewhat red tape, right? And then to reel it back and go, okay, we're going to rewind 5 years.
Mhm.
Did you find it easy or difficult to go back to that? Like, because you learned a lot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you learned a ton through those tough years, and that's really what, like, they say pressure makes diamonds, right? Like, you're going to have a difficult time, but now you know so much. You're armed with 12 years, 13 years of experience, and you go back to it. Did you find it easy or was it difficult? Like, what was the emotion going into that when you're like, we're going to roll this thing back?
It was pretty easy. There was like, we had to convince a lot of people, you know, when we had like really stepped it up from like a talent level, especially at the USC year. It was like a crazy amount of talent that we had booked as far as headliners and bringing in cutting edge acts from everywhere. And so it was kind of hard to convince some of like our talent buyers and stuff, and you know that this is what we wanted to do. We're just going to lean on the community, the people that, and then like the artists that want to play and are like down to do it for, you know, like just for the fucking love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And which tons of people like really fucking, it was really cool. But like it just felt right. And we literally like explained it to everyone. We've always been really open as far as like our transparency with our fans. And so we just were like, this is what we're going to do. We're bringing it back to the fucking OG roots.
Yeah.
Like we're not going fucking spending and splurging everywhere. We're just going to like fucking make this as fucking roots as possible and lean on our community vendors.
Yeah.
Like the sound system that we have today, like a part of it is still part of the sound system that was at the original Desert Hearts 12 years ago.
Cool.
So, and same with the stage, like the stage that we have now, that huge elaborate stage we have, it started out with this exact same vendors and the same people that built it at the original Desert Hearts. It was like a fucking 4-foot teepee.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, and now it's this huge thing. And so
it's such a cool stage too.
Yeah,
it's such a piece of art.
Yeah. And it's really like, I don't know, it's just like Desert Hearts is our family and it's like a community connector, and it's, you know, it's so much more than just the music and it's like it's our big spirit family kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think there's a level of trust between a festival and their community, and not all, but especially with independent festivals.
Yeah.
And I love like what you guys do, like in every email, and that's why it's interesting talking to you, because a lot of it is you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you are, I mean, definitely in a way, like Desert Hearts is you, and you know, and it's multiple people, but a lot of the emails, you know, it's like it's a letter from you, you know, and it's like, it's heartfelt and it's the truth. And it's like, here's what we're doing, and it's honesty, and it's tough to do that. And it's got to be really tough because there's lows and there's highs and all of that. But I respect that a lot. And the other thing that I've seen that you do is, I mean, now, especially over the last year, a lot of festivals, you know, have there's been cancellations. And I think people like to jump on the bandwagon, especially on like, you know, on social media, if a festival does something wrong, you know, in anything, you know, it doesn't even, not even canceling. Maybe the parking was fucked up or something. And I've seen you guys get in there a lot, and you've been like, hey, chill out, everybody.
Yeah. I can't help myself.
Like they're trying.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying their best.
Fuck, dude. I'm like, this year especially, we're seeing just everyone cancel.
Yeah.
Or they're canceling for 2025. And we're like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. Seeing just like the state of everything right now definitely like makes me nervous. I'm sure you guys are, you know, every time.
Oh no, man, super chill. Things are great. Yeah, we're looking forward to selling out 2 times over. So
yeah, it's insane right now.
It is. You know, that was a piece of what we had to do, was just say like, hey, we can't, the talent budget, because they were like coming out of COVID, especially, and I mean, you want to pay artists a lot. It is a music festival, and the musicians are the ones, you know, they're doing it. But the budgets were also getting like really high, and it's like, hey, we can't pay everybody everything, you know. And it's got to be people that also want to support this.
Well,
and be
something that a lot of people don't know is, so when everyone was getting the venue loans and the festival loans during the pandemic,
the shuttered venue,
which was just like free money, basically sent to like, there's your inflation right there. Like, yes, thank you. We really thank you. It saved our business, but also like, that's where the inflation happened. 1,000%. You can see it happen exactly in this industry of paying artists, because everyone who got that money was just like, oh, well, I'm going to fucking, it wasn't supposed to go to the paying the artists. It was supposed to like go to like keeping the businesses up. And like think of like the juggernauts, the fucking Insomniacs and the AEGs and everyone. They got ass loads of money there. And they're like, oh, well, we're just gonna fucking beef these fees up everywhere for all the artists. We're gonna outbid everyone.
Yes.
And so then it like set the precedent for artists getting paid way more than they've ever been paid. And that is like, it hasn't really come down since then. So it's like that as an artist also, right? It's great. That definitely helps a lot. But it is, when I see it from the booker side of things, I'm like, damn, this is not fucking like a long-term solution to everything.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool. You ride both sides for sure.
Yeah.
Of doing that. Cause you guys, I mean, you are playing all of the festivals that are out there, the major festivals, and touring a lot. You guys have been doing, is it just as difficult, or is it like really simple, or what do you guys do? Cause you're doing City Hearts in different areas as well. I mean, traveling around. What's that process been like?
Yeah. Playing all the different festivals. I mean, I tour I tour a shitload every year. That's my main.
Are you on the road more than you're home, or like what ratio would you say?
On the weekends.
Weekends you're out. Okay.
I'm gone probably like 3/4 of my weekends.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah.
You know, and then I come home and I'm working all week, playing dad. And you know, I got a 2-year-old at home.
Because that's a tough thing to have a kid now.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you can be touring.
Yeah.
You guys have that in
running a
common with kids. And I mean, there's a lot of common, like looking and hearing the stories. And I mean, you guys are very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Brad's got a 5-year-old, you got a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And life becomes, that's what it is.
Same's going into year 6. So as I started a festival, was like, which there's cool opportunities when you have like, it's like all of a sudden almost every festival I can go to for free, or like there's a lot of cool things that you can do. I just literally, like, my kid's 5, so I'm like, oh, okay. Can't do anything.
For sure.
Do you bring them along to shows?
I brought him the same but different.
That was so sick.
I brought him. That was my 2-year-old's first festival I brought to your guys' festival.
Yes.
What an honor.
That was his first like real showing party. It was fucking awesome. He loved it. He's got his little headphones, his little like noise canceling headphones type thing.
Yeah.
And then just all the lights and everything. It took him like 3 days of like, and he calls just going to any kind of festival or anything, because he watches Desert Hearts on TV sometimes, like our sets. So he calls it Daddy Hearts. And so everything, any kind of party is fucking Daddy Hearts. Like,
Tell me you have merch for that.
Daddy Hearts, dude, it's coming for sure. Daddy Hearts. And then so like for 3 days after, same but different. He's like, we're going to Daddy Hearts, right? We're going to Daddy Hearts. Daddy Hearts. We're like, yeah.
Yes. Did you go into the family? There was a silent disco, the kids only silent disco.
Missed it.
Yeah. But he saw your set.
Yeah,
he was jamming out.
Yeah, we were on we brought him to the island.
Oh,
so
okay,
he didn't stay for. We played like the island during the day.
Yes,
and then we did like a late night set.
Yeah,
and the island we brought him, and he was fucking frothing.
Wow, man.
Also, that was my first same but different, and it was fucking amazing.
Sick.
Yeah. Fucking bring me back.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Very invited.
Yeah, so down.
Yeah,
it was so cool. It was definitely pretty surreal being there at Lake Paris.
Oh yeah, there had to be some emotion behind that, right?
Yeah, where we're just like, whew, like didn't quite pan out for us here. We're like, but you guys are still holding it down.
It's crazy. Yeah. Going to because I went to Desert Hearts when you guys were there, and I was like, wait, there's a gate here. Like, what's going on? Like, trying to find my way around.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like I know the area, but it's all different.
Yeah, totally. And that was like the first time that we'd ever had a gate between the camping and then the actual festival grounds.
Oh yeah.
And it was like required by Lake Paris for us. I don't know if you guys have to walk through like security from the campsite every time.
For ABC, for alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, so you hadn't done that at the reservation.
So that was like, just there's little things like that like completely change the dynamic of people's experience at a festival.
Yeah.
And like always having a free flowing flow from the dance floor back to your campsite was like what we always had and prided ourselves on. And then like having people go through security while they're like tripping balls. It's just, there's just like little things. And
yeah, it's that little 5 minutes where you're just like, oh my God.
It's also
get through here.
I think the guest expectation, like if every single year you had the guests do 5 push-ups before they came in,
100%.
they'd have no problem with it.
Yeah.
But then you change something up on them, like that's a key part of it. Like you said, lawlessness, like that is important to them.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So that can throw you off a lot, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So just trying to like, that was why when we're like, we're going back to no rules, everyone was like, fuck yeah, but also what? It's in Arizona? we're like, we promise it's gonna be sick.
Well, when COVID hit, because it was very clear that California was gonna be shut down. And I remember just scanning. I like literally went into Google Maps on my computer. I was like, where could we go that has a beach and has water? And like the first place I found was in Arizona, was Havasu. And I was like, I put in a call because there's a state park on the lake there. We went out there, saw it. Like within a week, we had a permit in hand. And then like 3 weeks later, had all the artists, like I think Big G was signed on, Closey, Ellis Dream, STS9. So we were like, all right, we're going. We're going to announce we're going to be in Arizona this year because it seems like they're going to be open. And then it was 2 days before we were about to announce 2020, SSBD 2020. Was when it was like that day on the news. It was like Arizona is the new COVID capital of the world.
I remember that.
And
it was each other like, no, wait.
Their agent was just like, yo, if you announce this, we're going to pull really fast.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, it looks like we're done now.
But we're staying open because it's Arizona.
But it was wild because they eventually shut down too, but they were lenient out there. They were, it's weird, like state to state. And I'm sure you see it a lot, touring and doing events in different places, but each spot is very different.
For sure. And for whatever reason, like I always had it in my head, Arizona, they got to be super fucking strict. They're super conservative. They got to be really strict. They're like, we don't give a fuck what you do. Yeah. We're like,
you mind your business.
That's chill.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool with what Walter Warehouse is doing out there too, and like really building Phoenix up.
Yeah,
and, there's a whole scene there.
Have you been out there and like checked out what they're doing?
Yes. Yeah. It's
insane.
Really cool. And very I lived in Phoenix for like 6 years.
Okay.
And it was nothing like that out there. I like craved it when I was there. It's cool to go back and see. I have family that live there, so it's like cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've really changed it around.
They are the dopest. It's these two doctors, just a husband and wife, and they both retired from being doctors. And the Kirk, he's the, kind of the main guy behind all of Walter. And he ended up building this like hospital software that kind of like, I think it's scheduled out different things for doctors. And he ended up selling that business. And instead of like just doing things for himself with the money that he made, he just invested everything back into the community. And so he built these venues that were just like completely inspired to just build up the art scene in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So Walter Warehouse, Walter Studios, they have Walter Brewery, and like everything is about the community.
Yeah.
And, like they're just fucking killing it. And they're like, they have like 10 art cars, and just everything that they exude and they personify is just love, building community, showing up for your people. And it's like when we partnered on the festival with them, and it's been like the best match ever. They're so down for the cause. They bring so much infrastructure. It's like this, of all places, Phoenix. Like, I fucking love Phoenix now.
Yeah.
Never thought that I would like Phoenix.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not the scene they usually have.
Yeah.
It's usually the club, like Scottsdale club
Scottsdale.
scene is what I think of. And it's just like a whole different vibe.
And we were with we were with a promoter out there before we were working with Walter. And we did some cool stuff there. And they're the main promoter in Phoenix. I won't name them, but you know who they are. When we were like, hey, we want to do this party with Walter, they're like, if you fucking do this party, you will never work in Phoenix again. Like, end all, be all, fuck you, everything. And we're like, all right, so we're for sure working with Walter now. That I said that. And we did our first party with them, and it was just like this epic party.
Yeah.
And then now they're like our full-on business partner, saved Desert Hearts, like the relationship that's grown with them. Like I stay at their house, Kirk and Mary, they're the owners of Walter. I stay at their house every time that I go out there. It's like a full extended family type thing where it's like, it really, really feels right. And it's soul fulfilling to be out there with them. So
that's cool.
It feels like that.
Good people.
That was, when we knew that we were going to do this party with them, it was like, it felt like destiny kind of thing. It felt like, this is where things are supposed to go. And I'm a big just spiritual believer in my own spirituality and everything of like how things are supposed to develop and unravel, and all the signs were pointing to fucking this place of doing it here. And that made it so much easier. It was just like, oh, like I've fully let go. I'm riding the wave of the universe and what's supposed to be happening here. And I'm like, I'm not butting heads up against authority. I'm not butting, like trying to make Desert Hearts happen at a place that it could never, where it's not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
And now we're just back to fucking flow state. Let's make it happen. And we fucking crushed it.
So cool.
Yeah. So it all feels good.
So where are you at now for next year's already in the works and you're moving?
Yeah.
Anything announced?
We just announced the fest and had tickets go on. Like we did the pre-sale that just ended like I think a week ago. Okay. Ticket sales are fucking doing really good. So we're just like,
oh, that's awesome, man.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
So
back.
Yeah.
We're back, baby.
Like we're so.
Well, it takes that first year. I feel like whenever a festival moves, it's. I actually don't do this. I always go in the first year because I'm like, there's gonna be a clusterfuck, and I always like being part of that.
Yeah.
But whenever a festival moves, everybody. Yes.
Did you go to Texas Eclipse?
I didn't know, but I know
it's a beautiful, awesome clusterfuck. Yeah. It's amazing.
It always is a little bit of that, like. Yeah, just trying to figure it all out.
For sure.
And a lot of people take that first year off.
I love that you want to go and go to the first year.
I love going into that. I went to Bonnaroo's first year, ever. Sick. And it was crazy there. And LIB, when they switched properties twice now. Yeah. I love that.
You're like, they're not going to have anything figured out, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it just kind of works out like that.
Yeah,
like some people have a very bad experience with it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. They usually leave some chaos in there to like just have a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I feel like, so you guys are in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego feels like it's starting to fucking get back to a good place as far as nightlife and community and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got hit super hard from the pandemic, I feel like. So right before this, I came from Spin nightclub, which was, it was like the fucking end all be all, just like San Diego institution, after hours. We've had legendary parties there over the last 10 years, but in the last 2 years, they lost their after hours permit, and they had it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
That was the first night they lost that license. We had a party there.
No.
Like we found out.
Yeah,
right?
they told us like going into the party.
No.
They're like, by the way, we don't do after hours anymore. Like we threw an after hours party.
Yeah.
Like for LCD sound system. They were like, yeah, we just we don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wild.
We're aware of it. Yeah.
So when they lost that,
which is wild that they lost it. They've had it forever, and it was like paperwork.
Yeah. So I just came from Spin. Spin's been bought by this guy Brandon Colt and his partner, and they're like fully redoing everything. And like Brandon's worked there for like 10 years or so. And
awesome.
he's like one of the most trusted people in San Diego nightlife, in my opinion. And burner, all heart kind of guy. And so they're like putting all the good shit back into spin. And then they just also applied for after hours permits and like got all of them approved. So they have 8 after hours permits for December. And now so
that's every weekend.
Yeah.
They're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Spin's back, which is
killer.
It's back, and they're like,
which is also killer because they're one of the few that's not owned by like a giant now, because all the clubs have been bought.
Totally independent.
Yeah.
They're putting in like new sound, new everything. Like they're making the club as fucking dope as it gets. And San Diego really, really needs a good club.
Yeah.
And Spin used to be, but they had their problems still with like sound and stuff. But now I just heard the sound system. It sounds fucking sick. Also, we just threw a party. There's this other venue in San Diego called the Soap Factory. Have you been there yet?
I haven't been there. No. I've heard of it.
So it's in Barrio Logan. We just had our Desert Hearts 12-year anniversary party there in November, and it was unreal.
Yeah.
Like, it's an open air. It's kind of like an awning on one side and then open air on the other. And the guy who does it there, he's like the owner of the venue, also diehard community guy.
Yeah.
Like all about the arts, all about just trying to fucking build up a scene for the right people and for the right reasons. And so I'm like, holy shit, dude, in like 6 weeks, fucking
That's
all
cool.
this really good news.
Yeah.
And like it feels like everything's going in a good direction right now for San Diego.
Yeah. I feel like there was a little lull. And because when we first moved here, I was like, it was insane. I mean, that was also what like Wave House was just going off.
Dude.
I was like, this is the coolest and craziest place I've ever lived.
Yeah.
And there was so much to do every single weekend. But there was a scene that was coming up too. And a lot has come out of here. Didn't really die out. I feel like they like just shifted to wherever people were partying.
Well, before I feel like there was this really diehard community, especially in the house and techno scene and just the party scene in general. There was like really, really good network of people. When Desert Hearts first started, there was this Facebook group called the Super Kids.
We're friends with all of them.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know Super Kids?
Yeah. We know Super Kids.
So,
that was the crew that was going to your stuff in like whatever it was, 2012, 2013.
And they were like the most wild berserker freaks.
We hung out with all of them.
Yeah, totally. So
at our house,
we just weren't cool enough to go to Desert Hearts.
So like all of our first like 5 years of Desert Hearts was like fueled by this fucking outrageous crew of burners who were like the hardest partying freaks in San Diego, and everyone was just trying to out weird each other.
Yeah.
And like it really made for like a super fucking sick community where you knew that like at every party there was going to be like 100 to 200 really fucking cool people that were going to make the party really good.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. I'm still in some groups with like super kids, like all like, there's like maybe 50 of us.
Yeah.
But it's all like kid pictures now.
It's like the super parents now, dude. I know.
It's like, here's my Halloween costume. We all went out as Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's weird because there's, this is just life, I guess, but there's kids now that like, they come and they do a lot with same, but you hang out, they're throwing parties out in the desert, now. And like, there's just all these groups that are popping off right now that are in their 20s and starting to do it all over again. And thinking about what you said about the kids that were in lockdown when they should, when they would be 17, 18, 19, going to their first festival. And like, that was what I did. I went to a camping festival and like, it was like, you just got your license. You didn't know what to do. And it was like somebody at the camp over was like, no, don't set that speaker up over here. Whatever it was. And you kind of like learned what to do. And then you realized how cool the community was. Somebody's, brother told you to go. And I think maybe, they have to be just coming around. And rediscovering that, it's just such a thing.
For
It's
sure.
so great. The community that, the people you meet, and, it's life changing.
There's all these like day festivals that popped up, and so like there's all these like 1 day or 2 day house and techno festivals that are just like, you go to the venue and then you leave and you go home and then do the same thing the next day. They're super accessible. There's no like roughing it involved. And like for all these kids that were just staying cozy inside during COVID, they're like, ooh, this is like nice. I can just go back home and chill.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, don't you understand? You should be fucking passed outside your tent right now. Like, just like face down fucking with all your homies. We're like trying to we're like trying to tell them that that's like fucking how you should be fucking. It's better
horrible,
for you.
but it is the right way to.
But it's way better.
Don't you want to wake up in a tent in 130-degree weather? I mean, come on.
You got to put in, like the more you put in, the more you get out.
Yeah.
So,
the hardest thing in life is what you look back on and you're like, that changed my life.
Yeah.
It sucked. Remember that? It sucked. But time slows down, and like even just like, oh my God, I got to charge my cell phone at some point today. And you're like sitting there, and it might take you 2 hours to walk to your tent and just plug it in. But it's like, that's how slow time goes, and you're talking with everybody around you, and you got to wait in line for 3 hours to go through the gate and all that. But that's part of it. And you look back on that and you're like, oh, life was this, and then it turned to this. And I met these people, and that branched off into this.
For sure.
And that doesn't happen if you just go downtown and take an Uber home. It's just like another night at the clubs or whatever.
Even like Burning Man now is fucking has like the worst rep ever, where it's like Burning Man it's still the end all be all greatest fucking party mecca in the world, but the rep it has now is just like, oh, fucking it's just for billionaires and millionaires. And you're like, fuck, well, yeah, it has changed, but still, it's still the best. It's still the fucking end all be all best, top of the food chain.
How do you think about not losing the culture that you guys have? I think about that a lot. My favorite festivals, it's happened with almost every festival where I'm like, kind of lost it. What do you think about with that?
I think luckily for us, because we just did this like whole new pivot to Arizona and like bringing it back to the roots, like I feel like the whole energy spark is like, we are back to that cultural, like incredible vibe festival that we've always been. But I feel like we were starting to get away from it as we were going into Lake Paris and the Coliseum. Because we're trying to keep up. That was really the whole thing, right? We're like, fuck, how many festivals are there now? And look at their lineup, and look at like,
that's part of it. It's who's like, gonna want to come here? But there's so much more beyond the lineup for a festival like you.
Sure. And I feel like our fucking fans don't even care who's on the lineup. They're just like, fucking put me in front of the sickest Function 1 stack ever and like just let me fucking vibe out. But there was definitely pressure that like, and going to Lake Paris, our budget like over doubled from what we were doing at the Indian reservation. And we're like, how many tickets do we need to sell now? Okay, we're gonna have to book like headliners to make this work.
It's a lot more. It's a gamble. It's a whole. All right, let's put this all out there and hope that it comes through.
But I do think that, I don't know, we're in like a pretty cool spot right now where we're not as stressed as we have been for the last 5 years, and that feels fucking good.
Let's kill it.
That's all I ask.
Just a little less stress.
When you think back on Peru, like how that trip was, that it's got to feel good.
But now I'm like
a little more chill.
What you were saying though, like I'm actually so glad that happened, because it's like now I have this fucking crazy fucking thing of pressure makes diamonds. We wouldn't be here if that hadn't happened. Yes, I could have used not losing a fuck ton of money, but like we're gonna turn it around, and it's coming back.
So And it'll come back at some point too, where you'll be like, we could grow. Should we switch properties? Should we take over a little more?
Yeah.
And however that manifests itself, I feel like it does work itself out.
It's last man standing right now for the festival game. I feel like just you gotta get creative with it, and those that are getting creative with it and figuring out what to do right now they're like the only ones that are going to kind of make it through.
Yeah.
But if you make it through to the other side, then you're in a really good position.
I can't tell you how many times I told my parents, you should come out because I think this is the last year. Like, this might not ever happen again. But then, like, the next year comes, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't believe we're driving in a fucking golf cart again. We're doing it. But it keeps on happening.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah. It's a fun, crazy, wild, weird business that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking craziest business of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good too to keep like people like yourself who care about it, like care about the scene, care about the festival. It's about the culture for you, and that's what shines through on your events. I think that's why you have that following. That's why it's cool to see the excitement of going back to the roots for you, where you're like, bro, like it's like someone just plugged you back in, battery recharge. You're like ready to fucking go. Like 2026, 2027, let's go. Like, let's keep going.
For sure. Yeah, it's given me my whole life, right? Like my family, my friends, my community. It's everything to me, and it's everything to so many other people that aren't even part of the business. It's like, this is our big spiritual family that we go and have a family reunion multiple times a year, with the big one as the festival. Just tapping into the collective consciousness of nonstop house and techno for 3 days straight. What it's about.
Well, I'm getting out there this year, even though I like year one at a new property. I'm going to be out there for year two now.
Get on out here, dude.
Getting out there with the kid, all of it.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What are the dates? Do a little plug for you.
Yeah, July 4th weekend, 2025, Flagstaff, Arizona. Nonstop house and techno, baby.
Yeah.
72 hours. Function one.
Plug them in, let them ride the whole way through.
Hell yeah.
And the fire dancers. I've seen all of that there too.
Oh, dude, we got all the fire.
Yeah.
We got fire
cool.
again.
The art cars.
Yeah.
The Walter vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming on.
This is super cool,
awesome,
man.
This is super fun.
I had a bunch of questions. It's cool to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and thanks to the Template for having us. This is an
thanks for
awesome
having us out
venue.
here.
Thanks, Template.
Yeah. Appreciate it. But Mikey Lion, good to have you on.
Thanks, boys.
My man.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
good hanging with you.
Hell yeah.